Here, let me show you the video of
Pretty good.
right before I was arrested.
Yes, kettling. That's
These
right.
are all of these police officers lined up. I was just so shocked that this was happening. There's somebody saying this isn't legal. We
Seems
all were like, we want to leave. We want to get out of here. Why are you not letting us leave? And I was following orders the whole time. I went over walking towards the metro station and there were police lined up there. And I was like, can I get out of here? And they're like, no, not unless you have a press credential. And I'm like, where can I go? And the guy pointed me down the road. So I went down the road and got there. And they're like, we're not, no, you can't leave.
yeah, they were
We're
lying to
waiting
you.
for
Yeah.
orders. And I'm like, okay. And I was pretty sure once they like got orders, then that we would just be allowed to walk out. So we waited patiently. We're like, oh, okay, we'll just wait here then. like, um,
Mhm.
and then suddenly like they started closing in on us from both sides. And it was kind of scary. And I was amazed. You know how people freak out. You've been in the
Yeah.
service industry and people freak out if you
Yeah.
like, don't get their order right or
Yeah.
something. And here we're literally being handcuffed and loaded onto a bus. I am shocked that more people didn't absolutely lose it and start screaming and
Yeah.
saying, this is ridiculous. What are you doing? Everybody was just like, okay, just
Dumbfounded. Yeah.
like,
Flabbergasted.
I've never been arrested before. I
Mm.
never wanted to be because obviously there's already a target on my back as it is. There's so many people who would love to see my veterinary license revoked for what I talk about.
Yeah.
And so I have stayed far away from anything that was legally risky. You know, I dot all my I's, cross all my T's. And I had no intention of being anywhere where there's any danger. I went there just to interact with my community.
This is why I think we should be filming the cops, wearing body cams, and also get them to say on camera their badge number and whether or not you're being detained. Because that's the difference between a lawsuit and holding someone accountable and being in the situation we're in now where it's just like, well, I don't think I was doing anything illegal. Well, who's going to say, like, which cop?
Well, I have it filmed.
Crystal, everyone wants to know if you got to pee. That's a good
No,
question.
I didn't. I held my urine for about 4 or 5 hours.
Jeez Louise.
Like long bus ride, long like as they were loading up all of the
Hmm.
people onto the buses. And those buses, I had no idea. You are put in a cage, a
Like
tiny
a
cage
mini cage, yeah.
inside the bus. And it was full, so they put a second person in my cage with me. But luckily she was very nice. Like all of us, they were all relatively young people of color, mostly people in their 20s. There was some older gray-haired white dudes, but all Latino people, Black people, and people were saying like, oh, they bust in protesters and to do this. Everybody who I spoke to was like, oh yeah, I live here.
Yeah.
I took the metro to get here. I drove here.
Like in a town of 13 million people, we don't have enough people to protest. We have to bust them in. I don't think so.
And you say like, ask for their badge number. I had seen interactions where people were just politely asking the police for their badge numbers and such. And this one cop literally shot somebody with a rubber bullet, which is said, stop distracting me, and like shot them on camera. I have that,
Yeah, I've seen
video.
stuff like that too. But I mean, I guess like if I'm being arrested and someone tells me, well, oh, well, you can't come this way, go that way. Sure. Can I just get your badge number and ask if I'm being detained, please? That's how
Yeah.
I do it. Could I just, sure, I'm willing to do whatever you say. Could I just have your badge number and I'll do whatever you say. And they usually just, it's like, they'll just yell it at you. And I'll be like, all right, thank you. Am I being detained? And then I'll just, like, I'm super polite when they're being, because they're
Yeah.
scary. They're
No,
fucking,
other
they're really
people
scary.
asked if they were being detained, and they said, yes, you're being detained.
Oh,
So-
yeah, then, yeah. Yeah. So if you're illegally detained, though, that's a lawsuit. So, I mean, that's something that, I don't know, not that I've ever sued a police department. I've never done that. But I like to put them on, I don't know, I like pushing back. I feel safer. Hey, I have your badge number. I know who to hold accountable if this something really bad happens
Yeah,
to
I mean,
me.
can you see their badge numbers on them?
I-
Got so much footage of all of these people.
With the riot gear.
So yeah, they're just telling us to move, and they like got their weapons.
Yeah. They've
and
got
everything.
weapons. You've
And
got cameras.
here, there's so many people on social media who I shared these videos, and there's another video too that's the live stream that's more choppy and stuff. And they're like, how dare you be there?
Yeah.
You should not go to these places
Mm-hmm.
because there's riots and stuff. And I'm telling you, do not believe what is being said on the media, because this is my city.
Yeah.
This and
It's your neighborhood. Yeah.
I like literally took a short metro ride to get right here.
Yeah.
And it's not a riot. That day was not a riot. It was not violent. It was
Yeah.
peaceful. Everybody there was really good, solid people. There were a few young people yelling like F you to the
Of course.
cops,
Yeah.
which
Sure.
I'm like, oh,
Also, not violence. That's not
don't do
violence.
that. But
Does not make a
that's
riot. If I
it's
say
not
F
hitting anybody.
ice,
My gosh, to be telling people you cannot go and see what's happening in your own city and you can't be documenting it.
right?
You just need to
Crazy.
stay out of the way. Don't you know that these police officers are stressed because of all of this
Yeah.
violent uprising? Oh my gosh, do
Yeah.
not believe what is being said on the media. This is not a violent uprising, and the police are the ones who are instigating everything.
My job is not to make cops' jobs easier. My job is to be a citizen. I can push back and question authority. That's how we have a democracy.
And I have so much empathy for these cops too, because I felt like, talking to them, they had no power really to allow me to go. They were going to get in trouble if they let people out. They were just obeying orders. And if they didn't, they would get hassled by their higher ups, I'm sure. So it's a really crappy system where they can't act independently and make good judgments. Clearly, this is not a violent rioter.
It's funny.
This
I do, for the first time in my life, I hate to say this out loud, but I do have sympathy for the LAPD this
Mhm.
time. LA was at peace, more or less, and all of a sudden, ICE agents came in at the behest of Stephen Miller and decided to start a 3,000 person arrest. They wanted to arrest 3,000 people that day. And what happened? Angelinos stood up against them, and ICE started doing crazy stuff and escalating. They escalated. They're the ones that came into our community with assault rifles.
So
That's not LAPD's
ICE
fault.
was supposed to detain 3,000
3,000.
people.
Yes. It all started with Stephen Miller telling ICE that the new quota is 3,000 a day. So what did they do? They went anywhere they knew where illegal immigrants might be. So they went to Home Depots, they went to schools, they went to a couple restaurants, and they just started arresting everybody. They got up to something like 150 to 200 people. Now apparently they're up to like 300, nowhere near 3,000. But they come in with vans, unmarked vans, the masks on, assault rifles, like very, very scary, a kind of disgusting show of force. And people stood up. People reacted. Because you would, wouldn't you? A lot of people asked me that too, Drew. Originally pictured Crystal being arrested after curfew, but she wasn't. It
No,
was kind of like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that, as I understand it.
I was arrested at 4:20.
4:20.
Like, um,
Was that on your arrest? Was that on your paperwork?
no,
4:20.
I was just basing it off of the timestamps on
Oh,
the videos that I took. So
so
yeah,
not after
well,
curfew is the main point, though.
yes, and like so many people say like, oh, I was arrested for protesting. Keep in mind, I wasn't protesting. I was recording and filming from a
Well,
distance.
which is a form of activism and something that they're not okay with. If you look at any of the photographs, something that I think is really shocking is that again they're armed with guns, tasers, restraints, and truncheons, and the protesters are armed with cameras, phones, megaphones, tools of communication. They're armed with billy clubs, tools of violence.
Yeah, and I was like partially worried because my camera is so big and
I was
stuff.
going to
Like,
ask you what happened to your camera.
would people think that it's a gun? Like, especially like the way I was stationed in the parking garage, like leaning
Mm,
over the corner, like off the balcony of the parking garage to get down and take pictures. I'm like, I hope nobody thinks that I'm like shooting a gun or anything.
mm-hmm.
And I saw there were officers up on
Yeah.
rooftops and stuff like looking, and I got pictures of them too. But yeah, they put all my stuff in my bag, and I got all my stuff back. They didn't even look through my cameras as far as I know. They just put it underneath the bus and then pulled it back out when we got to the police station. And we were all sitting in chairs, hard metal chairs, for
Mm-hmm.
an hour. Once we got to the police station, and I had the hard plastic handcuffs on, the zip tie style ones that really hurt. There are some people
Yeah.
with the like rope cloth ones, which I guess were better. One person was sort of complaining, my hands asleep. And then, they would readjust them.
Oh, so
But
that's not bad. So the cops
yeah,
weren't
they,
torturing you, because that's
no,
something that
yeah.
the thing about that kettling, people call it kettling because it's gonna like you're pressure cooking them basically. Drew asked, was it a smooth arrest or did they put you on the ground?
Oh, yeah, I sat on the ground for a while. They took our picture a bunch of times, and the news media was there. They took my hair tie out. I had my hair in a bun. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and they took my hat off, my hair tie off, and so my hair was just like a ratty mess.
Yeah.
And all the media, like I saw everybody lined up, ABC, NBC, KTLA, all
Yeah.
of them, CNN, lined up filming us as we were like being loaded onto the bus. I am for sure gonna see my picture on the news, and I didn't. I haven't, but I haven't looked at everything. While I was photographing outside the Metropolitan Detention Center, there's like these 4-foot high barricade, cement barricade things that are this big and
Mm-hmm.
round at the top. And
Like bollards.
I'm like, if I am able to stand on one of these barricades, I could get a really good shot. So I did. I like stood on this like narrow barricade that was like round at the top with my huge camera and was like shooting down at the Metropolitan Detention Center. And everybody saw this and thought it was like an incredible feat or something. And they're like, "Oh my God, how are you doing? Like you have such good balance." And so they all started taking pictures of me doing that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any of those pictures yet either. But I guess people are like, "Oh, this is a really cool picture I shot. I gotta send it to you." I'm like, "Here's my Instagram, send it to me." But I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I mean, did I was worried that they put you inside the Metro Detention Center, but they didn't. They bust you out to 77th or something. Where were you?
Yeah, I was like, "Are we just gonna be bussed, like, around the corner?" Like, but no, we went all the way down to the 77th, which is past Vernon.
Oh,
It's kinda near Watts, Compton. I'm probably like, they're
did they
probably
take your
gonna
picture?
drop. Yeah, they took my picture a bunch of times.
No, but did they take your like a mugshot?
It was never like an official mugshot,
Oh,
like,
then you're probably
inside
not.
behind a screen or anything. It was just
Okay.
like, "Here's your citation, take a picture with your arresting officer." And they took a picture when you're loaded onto the bus, take a picture when you're loaded off the bus, take a picture after you get your citation. Like there was so
Yeah.
many different
I think
pictures.
that's all just to make sure you're not getting injured along the way. You know, like you didn't get injured on the bus. You were fresh faced when you got on the bus. You're not like Rihanna getting off of the limo. You know, she's not. She was fine getting in the limo, and then the other side she's all beat up. They don't want that happening to you. That makes sense. Do they have any intention of allowing 3,000 people a day due process? No, no, of course. That's why they're suspending due process, because they said they don't have time for any of that. But the problem is when you're rounding up 3,000 people, you have to determine who's legal and who's not. And so you still have to have some form of due process. That's the scary part. That's why these activists are standing up. That's one of the main reasons why you see signs that say due process, don't take my dad, don't take my mom. They're taking people who are legal, are legally here.
And I want to show this video is happened many hours before when we were right outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. And this is how like you can't really get a grasp of the full context just by like watching videos on the media, because I look at this and I go, "Oh my gosh, this is chaos."
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this footage that I shot, but I know it kind of wasn't. It was
Mm.
this is the scariest incident that happened, and this is kind of what showed me like how I want to stay away from all of this. But it looks and sounds really frightening, and this is when I guess they wanted us to disperse. But you can also see how confused, like, I'm not sure where to go. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
the order.
that's
There's the helicopters overhead, and that's the thing, like, so many of us were like, "What are they saying? We can't hear it."
yeah.
And when we were, like, arrested before that, None of us heard any dispersal order for that street that we were on. This thing, I got the feeling like, oh, it was a dispersal order, but it'll also show you how they kind of made it sound like we could stay there if we wanted to. But if we went out of that area, we wouldn't be able to come back. But if we wanted to stay in that area, we could. So I'll just play this. And we shit. So there was that loud bang, and I yelled, shit. Like,
what was it?
What was that?
It didn't sound like a
gun. And this looks like absolute chaos, but this is just me like
just shaky cam.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think it looks like
sirens, and you know, it kind of sounds like there's just craziness happening and it's out of control, but it's not, you know. So this is why you get this false sense of what's going on from the video. See, there's another loud bang. And
what are they shooting?
I don't know if there's these just loud bangs. I think
they're flash grenades.
But I was also worried that it was tear gas or something, because I did see smoke, and I'm like, well, I don't have any sort of. A lot of people had gas masks and stuff, and there were police that had gas masks and some that didn't. So I'm just like, well, I don't want to get that. So I'm
it sucks. Tear gas sucks.
So I don't know, like, you can kind of make out. There sounds like somebody on a speaker saying something, but you can't
hear what they're saying
for the life of you. Even, you know, and I'm hard of hearing, but even on this video, you can't make it out. And here, like, I took there's like literally just hundreds of cops coming from the other direction onto this street, and we're like, what the hell?
Move! I hear him yelling, move!
Yeah, there, and we're like, fine, we're moving. Where do you want me to go? But this was literally hours before I got arrested on the street right in front, and so after I saw this, I'm like, yeah, I'm happily moving. I just want to leave.
One way or the other.
I just want to get out of there. Can I go that way? Where can we go?
I won't let you guys back in.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Are we allowed to be here?
Let's go.
Are we allowed to be here or no?
Media credentials. If you don't have media credentials, you won't be able to come back in.
I'll just leave then. So he said, if you don't have any credentials, you won't be able to come back in.
Okay, cool. How
and
do I
I'm
get
like,
out?
well, either that to me signals, okay, well, I don't have credentials, so I could stay here and continue to see what was going on. He gave no indication that if I did stay there without credentials, I would be arrested.
Right.
He just like, oh, if you leave and you don't have credentials, you won't be able to go back. Like, you can't get back into the park. Like, and I was kind of like, oh, I'd like to, you know, stay in document, but also it feels a little scary. So I'm going to probably leave. I just want to leave. I went to the parking garage after this and looked down and saw everybody who was down there get arrested. And so I would have been arrested if I had stayed there. So, but this was hours before this happened.
Yeah.
But they gave no indication that.
And you couldn't smell any tear gas or anything? What did it smell like?
No.
Because I'm trying to think, like, I've been in areas where tear gas was like really far away and you could still smell it. Like, you know it's tear gas.
Yeah.
It didn't smell like sulfur or anything, like fireworks?
You gotta go back that way. You can't stand behind me. You gotta go back that way. No, you can't stand here. You gotta go back that way. Call 100 to 210. Ramos, verify you have all your squads at Alameda and Temple.
And like, yeah, hear another loudspeaker. Can you make out what it says now?
No, and these ladies are like, that's my car over there. I just want to go to my car. It's like, why aren't they just letting people disperse? They want people to go, let them go. Like, what is the problem here?
Yeah.
Why would a cop want
Yeah, Ron. In favor, go ahead and stand along.
Hey, just go on.
On the north side of Alameda, on the north, the south side on
You gotta go that way. You can't go this way. That's the way
and
it is.
westbound, move next to the south.
There you go.
this guy's flipping them off?
From where you can see more of like the crowd and
So yeah, and here on the other side, you can hear all these cops coming. I'll see if I can pull up some more stuff.
Never learned de-escalation, apparently. No, well, I mean, they're just going to arrest everybody. That was the plan, was to arrest everybody there, not
Yeah.
let them free. Like, they lied. They said, oh, you can go that way. If you go that way, it's fine. Like, they're de-escalating so that people don't get violent, because if people know they're going to get arrested, they might get squirrely.
Yeah.
I've rubbed my eyes after cutting pepper. Nothing. Pepper spray's not so bad. Tear gas, you can't breathe. Like, you just can't breathe at all. It's really messed up. It's actually illegal to use in war, but it's totally legal to use on the citizens of the United States.
Is it now? Wow.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use it in times of war, against your enemies of war. But you're allowed to use it in this situation. Tear gas. Cool. Do they make you take off your shoes?
No.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make you take off your shoes.
Let's see here.
That's why I always think, like, when I'm in an airport and they make me take off my shoes, I feel like, what is this?
All these police all lined up.
Yeah. With their billy clubs. We're ready to crack some skulls. I saw the guy from Channel 5 asking them, which do you like more, hitting people with sticks or shooting them? I freaking love that. I want to ask a cop that.
Yeah.
Which do you like more, beating people with sticks or shooting them? Here we go, more cops. There's people sitting on the curb over there. There's people minding their own business over there. You can't get around these cops, I guess, huh? And who are these people on the sidelines, Crystal? These people, it looks like...
What, regular people? Just citizens?
Like those people,
There's
yeah.
a lot of media over there. There's just like people like me who are there. Just
So
watching.
all these people are getting arrested today, too?
I think the people that are behind those cops all got arrested. But the people on the corner, I don't know if maybe some of them, if they ended up on that other street that I was on, a couple hours later, and then if they were among that group, then they got arrested.
What'd they get you for? Unlawful assembly?
Failure to disperse. My court date is September 12th. We'll see if they drop the charges before then. I imagine
I probably.
they would. I really want to send out an advisory to the press, see if any media wants to interview us about it, because it's, there's this whole narrative that it's rioting and it's crazy, but if you look at our videos before we were arrested, we were completely peaceful and just trying to obey orders, and the cops didn't let us go. And I feel like that's just huge.
Yeah.
We were just trying to go home and we got arrested. If the city's so torn by violence and there's so much rioting, why not just let people go?
Yeah.
Why waste all these resources scooping up somebody like me if there's so much violence that you have to take care of?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, how do you know who to arrest and who not to arrest? You just arrest everybody. I think this is the problem. Is I think the LAPD. Well, the LAPD, man, they've had so many issues over the years. I got lots of problems with the LAPD. This is how they usually show their force, right? But this act of just arrest everybody, we'll sort them out later, is the problem. That's the whole problem. That's not democracy. Arrest them all, sort them out later. What do you mean? You're not allowed to detain people just for being citizens, walking down the street taking pictures. It's
And it was
ludicrous.
so tedious, the process and the paperwork, and it seemed like they didn't even know there was all these new people, I think, because they're like, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
arrest a bunch of people, so here, let's bring in all of those other cops who were like,
Oh,
I
so
don't
you
know
know
how to
what that
arrest
is?
people.
They're like part-timers. They don't know what they're doing. So you
Yeah.
get, yeah. It happens anytime you see a parade or any really big thing, that's what's going on. That's why all the cops look all scared and nervous. They don't know where they are. You ask them for directions and they're like, I don't know. They're not like beat cops. You think the cops know the streets, but they don't even know where they're going. They're not
Yeah.
from here. LAPD horses from Rooster House Rescue are being forced to trample people. I saw that. I saw horses trampling people, and one guy, it was 4 or 5 horses, while men beat him with sticks. The horses kept trampling on him. Animal and human abuse. No sympathy for any of them. No one is forcing them to have this job. I mean, I can't argue with you, Rooster House. I got no love for the LAPD. I do feel in this particular situation the LAPD have been dealt a bad hand, but I'm with you. They could get another job. Fair enough. I don't know. How do you feel about the horses, Crystal?
I mean that they seem like happy, well-groomed horses, but I hate to put them in the line of danger like that. I don't really get how the horses help the situation at all. So
They're scary. What do you mean? Horses are
are they
scary.
more scary than a gun? And
I mean, if
like,
they're not going to shoot you and they're just going to beat you with a long stick and you can't outrun them and they're going to trample you once you get hit, I'm pretty scared. Yeah. Plus, they could see you from far away. The cops are up here and you're down here.
why not, like, if they have trucks and stuff, like, it's the same thing. I don't know. Or like you could have big bikes that do the same thing. I don't
Oh,
get
well,
why.
I get they should use technological alternatives to horses. I agree. But I mean, like, I don't know. They use those horses pretty well. I saw it looked crazy. The horses trampling this one guy over and over and over again, and they would do these turns and hit the horse with their back feet. The back feet of the horse. Crazy.
Yeah, look at he's got like a sled on the side of his. They all got these sleds on the side of their cars.
That's
I
how
don't
they
know what
come
that
in.
is.
That's how because you see them when they arrive, they're all standing on that, and then they all jump off.
Oh, okay.
They're all like holding onto the car, and then they all jump off the side of the car.
So I don't know. Like, I think if you're gonna get arrested in something like this where there's so much media attention on it. And like, what if just a bunch of people went to these places and just filmed? And I think it's our civic duty to film the police and
Agreed.
see what's happening. And if you get swooped up and arrested, like, make sure obviously, like, I have nothing to worry about. I have no warrants out for my arrest. You got all my ID and everything on me. I don't think there's going to be any consequences for
Probably
this,
not, but it's always when you're taken by people with guns, there is a possibility of something really bad happening to you. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just so. I mean,
So it's
you
a
were,
risk, yeah.
yeah, you were in harm's way, but I agree with you. Didn't previous administrations deport a lot of people without having to deny due process? That's right. Previous administrations were able to deport more people, without denying them due process. That's absolutely correct. Crazy, right? You follow the rules, we follow the rules. That's the way the social contract works. If the police follow the rules, we follow the rules. When the police don't follow the rules, people tend to get a little crazy. They start wrecking things, lighting things on fire. Because if you're not going to follow the rules, why should we? This is what happened in the LA riots. 4 police officers and 21 officers watched 4 police officers beat Rodney King to an inch of his life, and then they were let go. the rules weren't followed, the system didn't work, and people lit the whole town on fire. That's
I wish I was there to see, like how much of that was the media blowing it out
no,
of
I mean like
proportion.
Kmart's came down. Like we're talking like
Yeah.
large structure fires where like the city was on fire. When I was a kid, you could see the columns. I could see the columns of smoke. Like we could watch it on TV and then walk outside because I lived on this little hill, and you could see the smoke from the city, just like columns of smoke, like a war. That's a real riot.
Yeah.
How do we fix this? Says Navia. I've got some ideas.
What do you think?
I think that Congress needs to stand up to the president and make sure that we don't have. Well, first, the judges are going to have to decide whether or not it was legal to have this this president bring the Marines and the National Guard without permission of the state governor or the mayor. That's going to be a big one. Thursday we'll find out if it's legal. So I think we could fix this. I don't think it's over yet. I have hope. I just want ICE out of my neighborhoods. I want ICE leaving. I don't want federal stormtroopers around my neighborhood. I don't know if you're on any group chats about this, Crystal, but I am, and I get notifications all the time where ICE is, and when they're close to my neighborhood, it really is unnerving. I'm nervous about it.
Yeah, what do you do? Like, do you go and you document if you see ICE agents?
If I see
Like, is
them,
there, what's,
well, like they go to places like Home Depot, but like where I live, we don't have so many laborers out there waiting at Home Depot. You almost never see that here. But the Laguna
really?
Beach,
Like all the Home Depots here, especially the ones in Burbank and stuff, you see so many people
yeah,
ready
there's like
for
little
work.
areas for them. But
Oh, I see Susan's on backstage.
yes,
Can can you fill in some air? I just need to grab some water real quick.
of
And I'll be
course,
back.
yes. Well, as you can see, I'm happy to have Crystal back. You know, she what a trooper. She went out taking pictures, and she almost lost her free. Well, she lost her freedom for a short amount of time.